When searching online for anyone who's beat me to the topic, I found only two. The first is a Steam community post that claims 4 million vessels were locked away. However, they provide no proof of such, stating they obtained that number from another person's work. Next person claims the vessel count is over 1 billion. However, the math they used is based off a unit measurement they created without use of anything tangible, like pixels. It does not account for any of the Abyss's actual dimensions. So back to the drawing board. How many vessels are in the Abyss? Before beginning, I need to explain the unknown variables my calculations cannot account for. How deep the Abyss is will be impossible to solve. Unless we get that Void add-on promised by the Hollow Knight Kickstarter, we only know the Abyss goes as deep as the birthplace. As well, we do not know where the camera is in relation to the other wall of the Abyss that is presumably behind it, so I won't be guessing what it is we can't see behind that screen. And finally, my calculations will be theoretical, so expect to see a range estimate in my final answer. If you find any of my calculations are incorrect, the comment section is an open place for discussion. I'll do my best to respond to as many replies as I can. With all that out of the way, let's begin. How many vessels are in the Abyss? As I just stated, we have no idea how deep this place actually goes, so even my theoretical answer won't be exactly accurate. However, since we're shown the Abyss floor and the birthplace, then theoretically we should be able to figure out how many vessels are in these two areas. This then changes our original question to, how many vessels can fit into the Abyss? As for the dimensions of our to-be-filled areas, we must find their x, y, and z values, aka the height, width, and depth of both the Abyss floor and the birthplace. Keep in mind, I will be using pixels as my main unit of measurement, for reasons I'd hope you know are obvious. The way I found the x and y values was by taking screenshots in the game and stitching them all together in Photoshop. This process tells us the width and height of the Abyss floor is 5,620 pixels and 260 pixels respectively, and for the birthplace is 10,554 pixels and 7,357 pixels also respectively. From our first impression descending into the well-shaped darkness, a lot of us assume the vessels are contained within a very large cylinder that goes straight down. However, the birthplace has a width 2 times the size of the Abyss floor, meaning when you reach the hatched egg, you're somewhere in between this area and the lighthouse. What does that mean? Well, first we didn't know how deep the vessel pile is. Now we have no idea how far left or right it goes. Use your imagination here how you like. Anyways, since we know the perimeters of these two areas, all we need now are the dimensions of a vessel. I put some thought in and decided for this calculation I will only be considering vessel shells. They seem very similar to bone. They break, not bend, under pressure. On the other hand, vessel cloaks and bodies seem very malleable, with the cloak seemingly as thin as grass, and the body being able to bend and contort. For these reasons, I will only use vessel heads for my calculations. I decided not to use dead bodies to determine this average, but instead the living vessels we see throughout the game, prominently the playing character, the Hollow Knight, and the vessels seen after defeating the pure vessel in the 4th Pantheon. I decided not to consider any shell extensions like the Knight's Horns, mainly because there's a seemingly infinite number of vessel head variations, and since I do not have access to all of them, my calculations will be more accurate without their consideration. However, that didn't stop me from finding the average shell dimension, with the width, height, and depth being around 55 pixels, 49 pixels, and 53 pixels respectively. To find a more accurate estimate, I will be using the width and height to determine the least and greatest amount of vessel heads that could theoretically fit in these two areas. All we need to do is divide the width and height of one of the specified areas by one of the vessel's dimensions, multiply the resulting values together, which will give us an estimate of how many vessels fit within the specified area if all vessel heads were that dimension cubically. Do that again 3 more times, and we now know there are about 510 to 570 vessels per layer in the Abyss floor, and about 25,728 to 32,250 vessels per layer in the birthplace. Please take with a grain of salt this calculation, mainly because it includes all this black space here. It is likely this area is filled with vessel bodies, however we do not know for certain since this area is blank. Without considering this area, the range changes to 16,728 to 20,690 vessels per layer. However, to constitute for the possibility the birthplace is not this L shape all throughout the Abyss, I will consider the birthplace as a full rectangle. Notice how I say per layer. Since we're dealing with theoretics, I'd like you to imagine these two areas as boxes. Now I open the boxes, and you see in each many of these white slates packed snug next to one another. See, these vessel ranges correspond with the possible number of vessels found within each slate, aka layer, of this box. That means if the abyss floor box contains 10 layers, that's an estimate of 5,100 to 5,700 vessels within the box. If the birthplace has 50 layers, that's an estimate of 1,286,400 to 1,612,500 vessels within the box. Yeah, that 4 million seems a bit more realistic now, doesn't it? Assumably, layer count would stop at that back wall, so we'd have to determine how far away it is to get our final estimation. Now some of you might be calling me crazy here. This is a 2D platformer which only allows you to go left and right. How the heck with 2 Cs is it remotely possible to determine a Z-axis that is never visibly shown? First off, I am crazy, so bear with me for a sec. Technically speaking, we are shown a Z-axis here. The wall and vessels behind the knight are blurry, and the farther away something is, the more blurry it gets. So just maybe, if we can determine how blurred some of these vessel heads are compared to their non-blurry counterparts, and we can figure out how many shells are between them, it's then possible to create an equation which can calculate how far away something is just based on its blurriness. And so, I put my hypothesis to the test, and lo and behold, it didn't work at all. It could have, but Team Cherry most likely did not want the player to know how many vessels are in the abyss. I could make however many calculations I want guessing that wall's distance, but in the end, it probably had little to no thought put into anything of importance, so even if my equations were mathematically correct, no matter what, they'd have no meaning. One of Hollow Knight's main themes is exploring the unknown, and especially in this situation, with only a creepy ambiance, dark tone, and what looks to be hundreds if not thousands of dead bodies the eye can see, well, it would have been a little less chilling for the player if that lore tablet said, "Yeah guys, I just killed 4 million of my children, what? But don't worry, I got my beer vessel, you're not under that place no longer, but That was so cringe. I don't know if you would have said it like that specifically, but just knowing how many vessels are in the abyss ruins what makes it so memorable. Using your imagination to comprehend the unknown, and I highly respect Team Cherry for that. Did this video ruin that unknown? A little bit, but from another view, I just made the abyss even more unknown than it already was. You can thank me later. So, moral of the video? Don't kill your kids. Don't kill your kids. And finally, don't kill your kids. Thank you for watching.
Whoa, Ccmaci, you haven't posted a video since last October. I thought you said you post at least 1 video a month.
Well, I said it in the trailer. I suck at making promises. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. Look, I've been constantly working on this really big video since around November. Don't worry, I haven't quit YouTube. But this channel is going to be making a very large shift towards video game lore, specifically of Hollow Knight, which my next video will be about. Now what specifically I'll be discussing, can't tell you. Although if this video is anything of a hint, it'll be something about vessels, so keep your eyes peeled for when that comes out. However, I know some of you didn't subscribe for video game lore, so I understand if you unsubscribe. But I won't completely drop meme videos, like the latest one, which I really enjoyed making even if it took me 3 months to complete. If you wish to stick around for that, I'll be sure to provide as best I can. But be warned, a shift towards Hollow Knight lore is coming. If this video at all piqued your interest for the game, I highly suggest playing it yourself. It's highly acclaimed for its unique story, enjoyed by millions, and I promise you won't regret giving it a try. Besides that though, all social media links are in the description. Leave a like and subscribe. See ya.